What's up mga kote? It's me, Kuya Kyle, and welcome to Kuwader. Where learning is the name of the game. Kung bago ko dito sa YouTube channel, don't forget to click the subscribe, like, and share buttons for more updates and videos. So, what's up yo guys, no? Basta man tayo dyan. Sana, okay lang kayo, no? So, ang topic natin ngayon ay linear and non-linear text. So, ano nga ba ang nonlinear and nonlinear text? Siyempre, first and foremost, we have our very own trivia for the day. Tinin! Ako rin lang sound effects. Did you know that Twitter bird has a name? And it's Larry Bird. The infamous blue bird of social media was named after former NBA Larry Bird, who used to play for Twitter, co-founder of Stone's home state team, the Boston Celtics. So, eto guys, nalaman ko to kahapon lang, kagabi lang, nung ginagawa ko itong PPT na ito. So, ako'y na-shock din, no? Kaya pala sumikat si Larry Bird kasi ang pangalan ng bird sa Twitter is Larry. Kaya, Larry Bird. And, ayun. So, ito ang ating agenda para sa araw na ito. Ang ating agenda ay to know the difference between linear and non-linear text. Importance of the topic, as always, as usual. So, let's get into it. Linear and non-linear text. The key difference between linear and non-linear text is their reading path. In a linear text, a reader can make sense of the text by reading sequentially. What do you mean sequentially? By pattern, from beginning to end. However, in a non-linear text, the reading path is non-linear and non-sequential. Thus, the reader can choose his own reading path. A reading path, or the way the readers take through a text, there are two paths as linear and non-linear texts, depending on this reading path. This article explains these two reading paths, providing example to give a clear understanding of the difference between linear and non-linear text. So, what is non-linear text? Linear text refers to traditional text that needs to be read from beginning to end. Here, the reader makes sense of the text according to grammatical and syntactic arrangement of the words. Moreover, this type of text has an order or sequence. It's typically the author of the text who decides the order of the text or its reading path. Generally, texts printed on paper are considered as linear texts. Novels, poems, short stories, letters, educational texts, all those texts are read from the beginning to end are linear texts. And linear text contains words, sentences, and paragraphs. And it requires the reader to read from beginning and the end in order to understand the text. So, there is a consideration given to the constructions and organizations of the words because the text follows a certain order and it is a sequence. The reader needs a certain amount of time to read and to start to the end to entirely understand the message. But the reader can just only choose a certain part to read, and he can also start from any point of the text. And examples of linear texts are novels, poems, or stories, and the like. So, unlike linear, non-linear text does not need to follow any sequence order to understand its message. This kind of text is visually appealing because there are graphs and other elements that go with the text. And examples of nonlinear text are flowcharts, charts, graphs, or graphic organizers. And the following are the tables and devices for organizing and presenting an information visually. And then the readers look for caption and other details to interpret and explain the information that is being shown. And here, linear text is the most common type of reading, is the traditional method of reading we are taught as children. However, linear text or linear reading is not always advantageous. It may prove disadvantageous when you are in a hurry and need to find some information quickly. This is because reading a linear text involves reading the whole text from beginning to the end, and it may take a considerable amount of time to find the specific information that you will be need. And what is nonlinear text? So it is the opposite of linear text because as its name is suggests, it is unlinear and non-linear sequential. Or in other words, the readers do not have to go through the text in a sequential manner in order to make sense of the text. This type of text has many reading paths since the readers who decide the sequence of reading, not the author of the text. And there are many definitions of the term nonlinear text because most people consider text with visuals or graphs along with it as examples for nonlinear text. Some examples include flow charts, charts, and graphs. Example, the pie chart, bar graph, line graph, and many more graphs. Graphical organizers such as knowledge maps and story maps, and in fact, any text that is not read from beginning to end falls into the category of nonlinear text. Like for example, consider an encyclopedia or telephone directory. We do not read them from beginning to end. We skim through them to obtain the specific information we need. Like it says here, like the if you're finding an information, you don't need to read it like from the start to beginning. That is nonlinear text. Thus, you you just need to find that specific information or topic that you need to gather some details from it. Unlike linear text that you need to go through a process or sequence. And their difference is linear text refers to the traditional text that needs to be read from beginning to the end. And linear texts are linear and sequential, while the nonlinear are non-sequential. And there's only reading path in linear text, and it is determined by the author. Thus, and vice versa, on the linear text can have multiple reading paths depending on the readers. So to understand the difference between linear and nonlinear text clearly, look at some of the examples of both reading paths. Some examples of linear text includes novels, again, like hyperlinks, digital text, encyclopedias, are example of nonlinear text, and it allows the readers to find specific information more efficiently and quickly. And that is all for today about linear and nonlinear text. So I hope you define the difference between the two and what they are used to be. And as a recap, linear is sequential and non-linear is non-sequential. It means linear is you need to be in order, and non-linear doesn't need to be in order. So thank you for listening. This is your Kuya Kal, and I am signing out. Bye bye.